You are now entering the minds of Bryan DeLuca and Nicolette Emino. Listen carefully, because, in their randomness, you'll find nuggets of inspiration, creativity, and insight you can use on your own journeys. Well, hopefully. Otherwise, you've just wasted your time. But there's only one way to find out if they're absolutely insane or completely genius. Go on! Listen in!
So, hey, how are you?
Hello.
Okay. So today we're going to answer the public, and we're going to answer, or at least attempt to answer, some of the most common questions around content marketing on the internet.
So for those of you who don't know what Answer the Public is, I think, Brian, we were talking to Michael Brenner about Answer the Public, and we were talking about this guy right here. Can you see him?
Yeah, there you go.
Mm-hmm. So I love this site because
I like really, just saying.
You can find out what people across the web are actually searching for, and they break it down visually in these really cool graphics. So, for example, you can look up artificial intelligence and watch this. $174 questions. See, and they break it down by who, what, where, when, why, are, which, will, can, and you can pretty much find out what the most common questions, but they also break it down by prepositions versus, they got comparisons here. You don't have to look at it in this weird circle if you don't want to.
I actually like the diagram on this.
Yeah, I know. They're fun to look at, but for an easy look, they list it out for you too.
Right.
So, for example, when our AI goes bad, when it's used, So today we'll take a look at something as simple as content marketing and see what people are really asking. I like that guy.
I do too.
Oh, God.
All right, let me share my screen. So funny. Okay.
All right.
Okay. So let's look at the results for content marketing.
All right. So you got your R's, cans, hows.
So why don't we pick a question sort of from each area, maybe? Which one do you want to address first?
Let's see. Let's go up. Let's start with something pretty simple. How content marketing works.
Okay. So how does content marketing work? Well, basically the idea with content marketing is to create content that's not necessarily around your products or services in order to create a relationship with users to get them to your site, to bring them to your site, right, Nicolette? Wouldn't you say at the base core, that's what it is?
Yep. And I think it's a little bit misinterpreted now. People interpret content marketing as writing about their stuff, right? But it's really about building a relationship, attracting new users, providing current users with valuable information, and then, keeping them loyal with even more information. I mean, that's how I'd break it down.
Yeah, exactly. And I think one of the things, like you said, it's been skewed a little bit over the recent years. People are like, wow, I got to do content marketing, and they're creating content sometimes just about their company or about their product. And sometimes, most of the time, really what you want to try to do is, which sites like this are really good at giving you the information for, is actually answering questions that the public have in order to create a relationship with those users, to have an exchange in communication. Because most people do not buy based on the first interaction with the company. So the more interactions and the more information you could share with those users, the better off you're going to be. Okay. Pick another one.
Is content marketing dead?
Well, obviously not. We're sitting here talking about it. So
How dead can it be?
I would say it's pretty alive, considering considering probably almost every marketer is touching content marketing. I'd say yes, it's alive.
I would say that there are probably some things to think about in terms of how it's being presented now. Your company's content. I think we were also talking about this on one of our recent podcasts, that idea that users are becoming pretty savvy to, let's say, sponsored content on a media site. So that's your content, you're creating it, you want to get it out there in front of people, and you think that the best way to do that is by having a sponsored article, but people are like, okay, this person's trying to sell me something, this is a sponsored piece, they just paid to have it here, it's an ad. So I think certain tactics could be dying in a sense, and there should be more focused on building your own content, right? We tell everybody that they are media company.
Yes, yeah, exactly, and that's a really good point. Really the goal is to create that user experience on your site. So is content marketing dead? Obviously not, but the more you incorporate it into your site, whether you're a company or you're another you're a media company, or you sell products, it's incorporate those content marketing tactics into your site and make those users your users. That's what you're really ultimately trying to get to.
And that is what's alive and well.
And that is very alive. Okay, next one.
All right, let's see. Go down.
Go down.
Oh, wait, don't go down. I got something.
Okay.
Content marketing can take the form of.
Oh, that's a good one. So content marketing can take the form of articles, blogs, if you want to define blogs. I know we had that huge discussion on what is a blog, right?
What is a blog?
Video, images, social post, and anything starts really becoming a form of content marketing if it's used in sort of that relationship with the user in order to engage with them on a deeper level. Wouldn't you say? I would say pretty much almost every type of content falls into content marketing.
Yep. I agree.
Okay, you want me to go down here?
Stop. Okay. How about when creating, I like this one. When creating video marketing content on a budget. So budget is, budget's a problem for many.
Every marketer out there, budget is always an issue.
So what do? How do you create video content on a budget, incorporate that into your content marketing strategy?
Well, I believe there are various different needs in video, right? Some of it is using, smaller tactics, such as using your iPhone to film, some content. And some of it is you want to do better budget things. I think when we were talking to Andy Crestadina, he said, hey, if you're doing it on your corporate profile page or something like that, you may want to have more professional video, right? Whereas if you're doing stuff for, maybe YouTube, or you're doing stuff for some of your social pieces, do it on a budget. Use your iPhone. What can you actually do with it with your current staff and the resources you have at hand? And really the idea is the more creative you could be, you don't necessarily need the funds or big budgets in order to create some of those things. So, people in marketing are creative beings, use that creativity in order to figure out how you could create some videos on a budget.
Yep. Actually, I was just watching a LinkedIn video. I wish I could remember this gentleman's name. He's a video producer over in Australia. He was talking about when to use certain types of video. So that iPhone video versus, a really good production video, and the thing is that there's a lot of times you should be doing it yourself. I mean, there are, and they're good for like those thoughts, those snippets, those conversations, like this one, right? This is kind of similar to what we do. And then there's times where you're talking about a product and you need to, do a product demo, and you need a different type of video, you know. But if you're on a budget, I'd say start with what you've got, you know, for starters. Just do it, you know.
You got to work with the resources you have.
Yeah.
You know, you're always, you know, you're always going to be strapped for resources. We tell this people when they're doing content all the time, you know, you're always trying to get the most efficient thing done for the resources you have. And if the resource is small, you know, use that budget efficiently. If that means making, 10 low budget videos versus not making a video, make the 10 low budget videos, you know?
Yeah. Content marketing, what content marketing is not?
Do we want to go into any of these down here?
How about why content marketing fails?
Why content marketing fails?
Because
wow.
We hear this a lot. Actually, you just had a call with someone the other day who said, I used to do content, but it didn't work.
Yeah.
Right?
I think content marketing fails for a few reasons, probably many reasons, not even just a few. But one, you know, once again, people have a tendency, and they listen sometimes to some of the people that, you know, they're going, you know, whether it's someone internal or someone external going, well, you should really create an article on X. The problem is that company is never going to rank on X. I mean, we've seen this over and over, you know, companies spending thousands of dollars on articles. And because of who they are, they can't actually rank on that article or that piece of content. So what happens is that's one of the reasons it fails. You're not creating the correct content for who you are and where you stand in the online universe.
The other thing is, what I always tell people is one piece of content is not going to change your life.
I agree.
It's
I agree.
not gonna happen. You know, I love when folks want to create, you know, an article. Mm-hmm. That's it. That's their content marketing strategy. You know, that's going to fail. You know, that's your strategy
for the year. And if you compare yourself, because you know you're fighting with eyeballs with everyone out there that's writing on the same topic, and those are the media companies that are doing it. If you're, or you know, a manufacturer as well as the other manufacturers, and what's happening is you're always, you know, fighting for those users. And, you know, media companies produce thousands and thousands of pieces of content on the same topic every single year because that's what they do. So if you're a company and you're competing, you're going to need to produce more than one thing, you know, and depending on, like I said, who you are, that also plays into it, because sometimes you could use a small amount of content if you're creating the right content for you as the individual company. I think that's another way it fails. I think also the other things is really companies really talking about themselves versus providing answers and solutions to people. You see it fail for that. And I think that's a big thing. And then I think the other big thing is the sort of, it's almost like what you pointed at. It's unrealistic expectations of what a piece of content's going to do for you. Actually,
hold on, I'm going to take notes because I like this. But here's the other thing. I think, why does it fail? It fails because people don't understand. They don't understand, period. And what I mean is, I'm thinking of a conversation we had with someone who said, why should I create this content? Everybody else has already created content just like it, right? Mm-hmm. So why should I even be writing this stuff, mm-hmm. you know? And so they failed before they even started. So,
you know, it's interesting too. I don't know if that was a, you know, media company or a manufacturer, but what's interesting about that is then you're basically saying my media company or my manufacturer is no different than, you know, my competitor. Mm-hmm. Obviously there's a difference, right? And obviously you have customers for a reason, and whatever that reason is, whether you make a better product or your thing does this or that, or you're engaging.
Or it's the relationship with you, because you can sell two of the exact same thing, but it's just, who do you connect with? You know, I mean,
right. Or how does that company connect with you with content, things like that? What's the exchange? Because really what happens is when you start doing, you know, content marketing, you're creating a very different relationship. If you're just showing someone your products, you're basically saying to them, here, buy this, right? Mm-hmm. And they either buy it or don't because they need it or they don't need it. But when you go and you say, okay, here's how you do something, or here's why you should do it this way, or here's just information about the industry in general, like research or something like that, what happens is you create a very different exchange. Now it's no longer, I'm trying to sell you, it's a give and take. The user's actually gaining some insight or some knowledge from the information you have as a company. And we've seen, and I know we've talked about this, you know, multiple times, where there's so many research project after the show, users do not buy something the first time they interact with you. They have to interact with you more than once. And that's why, it's interesting to, when you start looking at it, how you should gauge not just your content, but how you should gauge the repeats, like getting them back, and how you should start measuring that, as well as how you should start understanding how to register those users to become a subscriber so you can stay in front of them, even if they're not a current customer, and measuring that value. Yeah, I mean, it's a whole different conversation, but that's where this eventually leads.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I think we got a few really good answers there.
Yeah. What's
okay. Can we please answer the question, who is content marketing?
Who is content marketing? I think everyone's content marketing. Right?
We are all content marketing. That's the answer. You are content marketing.
You are content marketing. That should be, make that your desktop, make that your
breathe it, live it, love it. You are content marketing.
I am content marketing.
Oh God. All right. What else we got?
Any other ones you want to answer?
Good down. Oh. How to learn content marketing?
Okay, that's an easy one.
I think we've got an answer.
Watch these videos. You will learn about content marketing from some of the best people in the industry. Guys, we've had a lot of amazing guests on this podcast in the content marketing and marketing world, and we have a lot more planned for the future. So make sure you subscribe so you get the updates when we have those new when we have those new episodes, and you will learn content marketing.
You will, but we have another suggestion. You should also try things. Because the only way to learn is to try things. And if you want to try things, you can try them with us. But you will definitely learn something. Whether you try it alone or try it from us, just do it. That's a
really good point. You got to experiment with your content. You got to try things, see how they work. You got to measure it, and then try other things. Do they work better? Do they work worse? And keep building on the things that are getting better. Get rid of the things quickly that don't do well, and move on. So it's a good point.
I think we just answered 7 questions.
I think so. I think that's all. Well, thank you everyone for joining in, and make sure you hit that subscribe button.
And if you have any other questions, feel free to ask them. Peace out.